You're ready to go.
Now?
Yep.
All right, I'd like to go ahead and open the Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting, and we'll start with public hearing. But before we start that, I'd like to go ahead and welcome everybody to a Zoom meeting due to COVID-19 and some of the recent increases. It was decided among the Warrenton Board to host this as a Zoom meeting again. If you'd like to have any questions, or we are open to the public, you can call 312-626-6799 or enter the meeting with our Zoom with the ID number of 956-274-8536. 956-274-8536. Or you can make your comments written or emailed to mrugh@warrenton-mo.org. With that, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing for tax rate.
Thank you. Good evening, Board and Mayor. This is Dana. I would like to make part of the public record the municipal code by reference and the public hearing notice that was published in the Warren County Record on August 6, 2020. Revised property valuation for 2020 received from the county clerk reflects an increase of $4,121,711 in new construction, an increase of $3,192,525 in real estate valuations, an increase of $1,216,543 in personal property tax valuation. The proposed tax rate based on these revised property valuations from the county are 0.2926 of $100 valuation for the general revenue, 0.1732 per $100 valuation for parks and recreation. Total tax rate proposed is 0.4658 per $100 of valuation. Proposed rates will result in approximately $509,791 in revenue. For the general fund, $320,233 of that, and for the park fund, $189,557. Total budgeted revenues for this year are $491,500, resulting in an additional $18,291 of revenue above budget. So again, is there any discussion regarding this public hearing on tax rate?
No.
Yeah, a quick question. What is the rate this year compared to the rate last year? I think for the public to know, I think that's helpful.
Absolutely. Last year's total rate was 0.4615, and this year the proposed rate is 0.4658. So an increase of 0.0043 per $100 of valuation.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dana? Melody, are there any questions that have come in?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dana. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Next item on the public hearing agenda would be the 405.255 accessory buildings and structures.
All right. Good evening, Board of Aldermen and Mayor.
Sorry, I guess I should say this is Neil Fick.
This is Neil Fick, Director of Planning and Development. For your consideration tonight for the public hearing, we ask for the review of amendments to Section 405.255, accessory buildings and structures. I ask that the ordinance of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, the comprehensive plan of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, and the packet shown as ADM-108 on the agenda be made part of the record by reference, which includes the publication of tonight's public hearing that was posted in the Warren County Record.
Are there any questions for Neil on that?
Yeah, again, for the public who maybe doesn't have the packet or information, could you just kind of give a executive summary of what you're talking about so everybody has an understanding?
Yes. This is for the accessory buildings and structures to provide guidelines for installation of ground-mounted solar panels. There's been a lot of contractors out there who just asked for the instructions on that.
And just so Gary, to answer that a little more in depth, I think there's also been a lot of people in our area as well as on publications, social media areas such as Facebook that have been pushing this pretty heavily within our town as well.
But isn't the crux of this ordinance really to limit the height of 6 feet? If it's not attached to a roof, is that basically the crux of it?
Yeah, I think it's important, Alderman Ock, for purposes of the public hearing, to state that, you know, we looked comprehensively as staff at solar, and really, you know, most people want to put it on their roof, you know, but there are some people that want additional power or other power with ground mounted solar panels. And we came to the conclusion that it's probably a good positive thing, less pull on the grid, but we wanted to make sure that privacy fences are 6 feet, that you're not infringing on your neighbor's visual space by having these large structures, you know, far above the fence, because right now they can be the height of the roof line, which would, you know, if you look at some of the proposals we've seen, would be pretty intrusive, we think, in some of the smaller neighborhoods.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, Melody, that have come in, or any other alderman?
No, sir.
I think this is what we discussed and agreed on 2 or 3 meetings ago.
Yes. With no more questions or statements, I'll go ahead and draw the public hearing section of the Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting for August 18, 2020 to a close. And I would like to open a regular Board of Aldermen meeting. First item will be the consent agenda.
First item is the regular meeting minutes from August 4th, 2020. We have award the cinders bid to Bobby Holscher Trucking, the low bid. Award the salt bid to Oakley St. Louis, the low bid. Award the rock bid to Bobby Holscher Trucking, the low bid. Award the ready mix concrete bid to Schreider Ready Mix, the low bid. Award the fuel bid to Thaley for the unleaded fuel and MFA oil for the diesel. And award the auto repair to Warrenton Tire and Muffler and the oil change bid to Auto Lube Plus.
Any questions on that?
The only question I had, Eric, on the bid tab from the Auto Lube Plus, there was so much on there that said it wasn't applicable. That there was, if you look at the sheet, how, I don't understand how that came about. Do y'all see that towards the bottom of the sheet?
No idea.
Can I answer
Brandy?
that?
Yes, please.
It's because when we bid that out, we bid it for the services for the auto loop, for the auto. So like your normal maintenance, repair, and all that stuff. We bid it for that as well as the oil changes. And the auto lube place only offers oil changes, whereas Warrenton Tire offers both. But the auto lube place actually ended up being less expensive for their oil changes. So that's why we split it.
Okay, so Warrenton Tire and Muffler is still going to get a portion of this. Is that right?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
they're going to get all of the service, and then the auto lube place is only getting the oil changes.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question on the fuel. It says unleaded fuel, MFA oil for the diesel. Are those bid out as the same process, or is something different?
Yeah, those are also bid out together. However, MFA is the only ones that bid on the diesel. Thiele doesn't offer diesel, the deliverable diesel. So that's why MFA got that piece.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Miller. Roll call vote.
Alderman Deloy,
Abstain.
Alderman Schultz,
I guess I have to abstain. Is there a way to remove the regular meeting minutes, item A? I guess I should have asked this prior to the vote.
Yes, it can be removed. And
It
moved
can
down.
be. I just also want to point out, formally approving the minutes doesn't require you to be there to approve it. It's just saying they're accurate draft of the minutes. There's, it's really a ministerial act, but you could remove them or you could abstain and, go through them. It's up to you. You just need to make a motion.
I'll vote yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 with one abstaining. Next item would be public comments received via email.
there were none.
Next would be Board of Alderman comments.
I just have one small thing. I really want to take the opportunity to express the gratitude for the outpouring of love and kindness that my family received following the death of my granddaughter, Alexa. And I hope that that is all returned tenfold to everyone that reached out to me and Stephen and the rest of our family. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Nope.
I just want to say thanks to all the first responders here in Warren County for the great jobs they're doing at this time right now. So thank you, first responders.
Thank you. Anyone else? So I'm going to go ahead and make one comment very quickly if I can. I know some people are really torn within our city and our county on the issues as to why some things are happening or the COVID-19. I mean, I think we've all heard little comments about why are we still being the sheep following the herd and why aren't we being the sheepdog? Regardless if you've been involved or touched by it, it is a real thing out there. It's not fake. I'm not going to sit here and decide if it's political or not, because that's not my place, but my place is to recommend and stand in allegiance with our city officials as well as with our employees, and the safety is our main concern there. So please be considerate and understand that when there are things that happen, and somebody has been exposed that's close to us, it's very concerning. And I don't want anybody else to endanger themselves or anything else. So I will continue to recommend if we need to do Zoom. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not a big fan, but I do believe it's safe. And that is the main priority right now for us, is to keep people safe as possible until we can get here or get through it. So I will, number one, apologize for anyone or to anyone for the inconvenience Zoom may cause, but I will tell you, above the apology, the safety of our personnel and ourselves is what I think needs to be the number one priority.
Thanks, Mayor.
Agreed.
Thank you, Eric.
Agreed. Thank you. So moving on, I apologize. I get a little long-winded on some of that just because it seems like more than any other subject, that's been one topic that's been hit with me a lot, and it is what it is. Next on the agenda would be the agreement with Warren County regarding the RPA #1 parcels. I don't know who's going to speak first.
I think
Melanie, can you rotate the agenda up on the shared item?
we have Mark Grimm with us from Gilmore and Bell, who's going to explain this. Mark, are you with us?
I am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So You all will recall that obviously the redevelopment plan was initially approved in 2017, and the developer's consultant that prepared the plan had an error in the list of parcels that were in RPA 1 versus RPA 2. And so then in 2018, the Board of Aldermen approved an amendment to the plan to correct that error, and the county became aware of that amendment in 2019. And there was subsequent some replatting that was done in connection with the sale to Rural King by the developer, and then the construction of the some of the right of way affected some of the parcels. So to make a long story short, the base valuation, which is the base of the TIF, was always somewhat up in the air due to this amendment. The base was initially established with respect to the initial parcels, but the county never settled on a base valuation after this amendment occurred. And so we've had these conversations going on with the county for quite some time, and the county's lawyer and myself on behalf of the city and the developer's lawyers, we all agreed that it would be in everybody's interest to have an agreement where everybody agreed, here's how the base value was calculated, and here's what it is on a going forward basis, so that there's no dispute by anybody, the developer, Rural King, the county or city, 1 year from now, 3 years from now, whatever, as to how the TIF revenues were to be calculated. So that's why we've been working on this for quite some time, and all came to agreement on what the appropriate numbers should be. And to my knowledge, everybody's happy with reducing this to this short agreement, so that just everything's clear going forward about how the numbers are going to work.
Anybody else have any questions?
Nope.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate all the work that you've done getting this put together and getting everyone to agree on it so we can move forward.
Yeah, so the county commission, I believe, is going to approve this this week as well. And then Rob Clark, on behalf of the developer, has already talked to Art and has talked to Rural King. So you'll see that there's both going to be signing this agreement as well, so that everybody will be on board.
Excellent. Well, I do appreciate it, Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Next item will be the liquor license renewal for Discount Smoke Shop. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Nope.
I will entertain a motion to approve the original liquor by the drink license for Discount Smoke Shop located at 523 Warren County Shopping Center.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I think it said 123. I'm at 523. I apologize. Who was the first one?
Bob.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Ock. Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next, we'll hear from City Administrator Terry Thorne.
First for you is just a reminder that on Monday of next week, we have a work session via Zoom that will begin at 5:30, and we will have an information packet coming out to you later this week with information for that work session. Additionally, to talk about just some, actually the mayor already touched on this, the safety procedures related to COVID. We have reverted back to using Zoom for all of our meetings, not only board and planning and zoning, but all with engineers and outside individuals. that would be typically coming into City Hall. So all of those meetings will now be via Zoom until conditions improve. We also are making accommodations so that when we do formal public hearings, that any individuals who either don't have Zoom or are not comfortable with that can actually go to City Hall for those public hearings. And we will have Zoom set up there so that they can come in and get on Zoom, make their comments. They'll be able to have video and audio through that Zoom connection, so that for the public hearings, they will be able to come and present their issues, concerns, information, if they do not have the capability or just not comfortable doing that. So we wanted to offer that so that those individuals who otherwise might not be able to be involved in the public hearing would have that opportunity. Other than that, we are continuing, as we have been now for months, at City Hall to wear masks when we're in the building. We are observing social distancing. We are doing extensive cleaning a couple of times a day on all of the surfaces that are touching the surfaces, and still doing everything that we originally had been, and maintaining all of those standards. And we will continue doing that. Hopefully this thing subsides and improves conditions. So just wanted to bring you all up to date on that. Any questions on that at all?
What's the maximum number of people that will be allowed at City Hall under those circumstances?
We aren't going to put a maximum out there, but individuals will only be allowed in to do the Zoom one at a time. So we will put tape on the floor or something to keep them spread 6 feet as they await their turn to come in for the public hearing. And then once they've addressed the board through that means, then they will leave and allow the next one to come and be on via Zoom. So there won't be a maximum number, but there won't be seating afterwards. We'll make sure that they know how to get on their phone and listen to it after that or whatever. It's really a means to put them in front of you for the public hearing section.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. My next item is really for Mr. Graville to discuss. Later on in the meeting this evening, there are multiple ordinances related to condemnation proceedings. This is related to the sidewalk project for out on North Highway 47. So Chris, do you want to explain those ordinances for us?
Briefly, I will
Please.
explain the ordinances. You have on for your consideration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ordinances related to proceeding with authorizing the city to proceed with condemnation related to the Highway 47 sidewalk project. As you all will recall, and as it's stated in the ordinance, we hired an outside company to do the negotiations for right-of-way in order to complete the MoDOT sidewalk project. These are the 6 remaining properties. So as we've done in the past, like with the sewer project, we will initiate, this is giving the authority for us to initiate the process for condemnation. You can look at the ordinances themselves. These are not large parcels of ground that we're doing. We're doing it strictly for the sidewalk project. And I'm here to answer any questions about the process or the project if you have them.
One thing I think, Chris, that's important for the board to note, this is a MoDOT related project, as you all know, and in speaking with the MoDOT reps, we can initiate this condemnation process. It is possible that we will actually settle with some of these individuals before we get entirely through the process. But in the event that we do not, once the judge, and help me here, Chris, makes a formal declaration. I don't know what the technical thing is.
The way it works under condemnation is essentially the cases, there are 3 condemnation commissioners that are appointed. Once the condemnation commissioners are appointed, there's a meeting with the plaintiff side and the defense side, and both sides have an opportunity to present their evaluation of the property. Upon conclusion of that, the 3 condemnation commissioners then make a recommendation on the value of the property that the city is attempting to condemn. Once they do their commissioners' awards, which they have 60 days to complete, or actually I think it's 45 days, 45 days to complete. At that point, once the city pays that money into the court, the city takes title to the property. There is still a process that occurs after that that can happen, in which they can request a jury trial and there can be a jury that determines the value of the property. One of the things I do want to point out, this is, I think, the second or the third time we've proceeded to this phase of passing the ordinance. One was on the South Highway 47 sidewalks and the other was the sewer project. And in both of those circumstances, we end up settling the case with the property owner. So we will continue to try to negotiate and get a settlement reached. Some of these are just the fact that people are not responsive to the correspondence or the attempts by the third-party contractor.
But the key to that that's really important with as far as the timing of our project is once those commissioners make that declaration and the city takes title to the property, then the project can continue. So it's not going to slow the project down and stop it until there's a final determination of the value. Correct, Chris?
Correct.
So the real purpose of the condemnation is to set a price. So that's what you're saying?
Yes, yes, it's to determine the value of the property. First, the commission will make a determination. We will deposit their determination with the court, assuming it's reasonable. And then you can file what's known as exceptions to the condemnation award, which then proceeds to the next phase of the case. It's a little bit different than most civil lawsuits. There's not this preliminary determination phase that occurs that allows the city to acquire the right of way and turn it over to MoDOT without having to wait, to go to a jury trial, which, obviously, and as Terry and I discussed it and Brandy discussed it, that was very concerning to us because of the COVID. And I think, the mayor and Alderman Schultz can probably comment. I think they're back to phase 1 again. And they may not have jury trials over there until the end of the year.
That's correct. I don't foresee any.
So we will be able to initiate this process, move it along, and do everything we can do possibly with the courthouse restrictions to not delay the project. Or at least that's what Terry has clearly directed to me, get it done.
He said it way nicer than that, I'm sure.
Of course I did.
I think this is being recorded, so.
Be nice.
So at this point in time, are we
The ordinances
conservative?
are up for, the ordinances, Alderman Miller, are on for approval later tonight. Terry just wanted me to give you an explanation of those 5 ordinances, what the purpose of the project was, remind you of the purpose, why we are doing it, and what goes on from here moving forward.
Thank you.
So with that, I'll say the bills will be later on in the agenda for approval. Next, we'll hear from, Terry, was that all?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Director of Operations, Brandy Walters.
Good evening. So the first thing that I have for you is our monthly report on the administration side. One thing that's not on this report is the camps that we just recently had from that TSM performed for us. They did a physical fitness camp and we had 91 participants in that, which was really good because they did that so in lieu of having spring ball, this way they could keep them distanced. One of the other things is we are getting ready to start all the fall newsletter, which I believe I sent you guys an email already. Since we're not having fall festival and that kind of stuff, we have pushed that date out for any articles or any comments or anything that you want to put in there for September 18th. If you could get that to me by then, that would be great.
Any comments on any of that?
No.
All right, Brandy, go ahead.
Right, so the next thing I have for you is Meridian trash contract, which we discussed at the last board meeting. I wanted to update you guys that the very next day after the board meeting, I had an email that stated a customer service rep would be specifically for Warrenton. And they followed through with that. And we have, when our customers call in to their customer service line, they have the option to get a customer service rep that is specifically for Warrenton, which is great. Also on that Thursday, Vince stopped by, who is the local person. He stopped by and met with me, and he had met with all of his drivers that morning, went over all of the issues that we were having with them. And I think that they got it resolved that day, to the point that Vince went and kind of followed their routes to see what else needed to be done. This past Thursday, we didn't have any comments at all. We didn't have any phone calls, nothing last week. Then this past Thursday, we had a few complaints where people didn't get their trash picked up or whatever. And I think that could possibly be because people are getting in the habit of calling the city versus calling them. So I think that's also kind of just redirecting the public to where they need to be calling, because those issues, they responded to them right away and had them fixed. So we didn't have any problems anything that was sitting there. So what I would like to recommend is that we continue with Meridian, give them until October to see if this continues or if we go back down the wrong path or not. And then we can revisit it at that.
Brandy, I had a call from one of their representatives, and it was my understanding that she was going to be joining us tonight.
And she is on here.
Okay. Yes, I had a
Natalie.
nice.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm here.
I appreciate you calling today. I was unable to take your call at the time, but I appreciate your explanations and things. I have to agree with Brandy, though. Anybody can clean up their act for a short time, but it takes a little bit longer to prove yourself. And so would like to see an extension as well, Brandy, to just give them a couple more months to be sure they have the bugs out. But the fact that they're going to have a designated person to take care of the community should make a huge difference. So
Yeah, that's great.
Well, thank you. And we sincerely appreciate it. If there's anything, I am your contact person. And I believe I emailed all the aldermen. Again, this is Natalie. So feel free to reach me.
Okay.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Natalie.
And that's all I have for you guys tonight.
Mr. Mayor, can I
Sure.
raise another question related to trash?
Sure.
I don't know how we get the message through to property owners that it's improper to put trash cans on sidewalks and block them, because there are a number of people who do that consistently. And if you're in a motorized vehicle, which there are a lot of people in this community use those type of things to get around when they're on sidewalks. If they come up to a trash can that's blocking their route, then they have to be faced with either backing up or going over the curb somehow to get to where they're going. And this goes on a lot, and I know it's one of my pet peeves, but we build the sidewalks for people to use them, not for people to put trash containers on them. I've seen that all over town, and I don't know how we get the public to understand it, but it really is not a courteous thing for individuals who, for some reason, can't walk around the sidewalk or simply have to walk into the street because the trash can's blocking it. So I don't know how we enforce that, but I think that's something we need to look at.
Did we put that in our newsletter
Yes.
Definitely.
as a reminder?
Randy, I do have a question on those phone calls that came in last week about trash not being picked up. Do we know how many of those people just simply did not get their trash cans out on time?
I know 2 of them. I don't know for sure on 2 of those. On the other 2, I know that they were out on time.
Right.
Because
right. The only reason I was asking that is because if they're used to putting it out at a certain time, and the guys came by earlier than they were expected, they may have missed them. So I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, and I have to say Meridian was very quick on responding to our emails for those complaints, and they went out the same day and picked it up and took care of it. So
Okay.
they responded well.
All right. Thank you.
Good
You're
deal.
welcome.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Thank you, Natalie.
Thanks.
Next, we'll hear from the Director of Planning and Development, Neil Fick.
All right, so good evening, Board of Aldermen and Mayor. You have my monthly planning and development report. The Gypsy Moth Quilt Shop will be opening up at the end of September, the beginning of October, and that's at 614 North Highway 47. That's right next to Two Dudes Barbecue.
Oh, in the little brick building?
Yes.
Oh, good. Good. I was wondering where that was.
So give us the name of that once again.
It's Gypsy Moth Quilt Shop.
There's sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's a number of people who are quite anxious about that opening, anticipating it. Do you have any description as to what they're going to have there? Is it a retail sales shop? Is it a professional service shop? Do you know anything about it?
All I know right now is she's waiting to get inventory in. So
Okay.
I assume that that's the yarns and things like that.
Okay.
But she's going to contact us when she's closer and ready to open up so I can let everyone know for the grand opening.
Thank you.
Okay. Also want to let you know that we have the Sushi Truck, the food truck is going to be coming over at 611 Highway 47. So he's wrapping up with the county and getting his license with the city. So they plan on parking over on the Hicks property during the day, and then they would be leaving at according to our ordinance. So they'll park there during the day and then leave there at night.
Which property is that?
At 611, I think it's gold and silver right there on the corner, the Hicks property right on the corner on 611 Highway 47. It's right
It's
on
a property.
the corner.
It's property right next to where the quilt shop's going in, or the
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So Neil, is it good sushi?
I don't eat fish.
You wouldn't know that.
Neil, I'm disappointed.
Why don't you try it out, Mayor?
I will. I love sushi. I'll go try it out in a heartbeat.
That's all I have for my monthly report. Do you have any questions for that?
No.
Nope. All right, so moving along to Hageman Plumbing. All right, so on 6/26, we received an application for a subdivision approval to divide the property at 508 West Boonslick Road into two smaller lots. The proposed subdivision will divide those lots into 2.06 acres. That'll be 1A, and 1B will be divided into 3.36 acres. There will be an easement, a common ground, which will be 0.28 acres. So from the planning and zoning meeting, the condition was that we reviewed the detention basin that came up after Lewis and Beatty actually did the calculations. It was shown that that is a shared basin. So they have shown that that is going to be divided into common ground, and there is going to be an easement. Bart is with us. Bart Corman, if you have any questions for him.
Yeah, this is Bart Corman here. Neil did a great job explaining it, but I will answer any other questions anybody may have.
I don't have a question in reference to this. I just want to know if you're actually playing at the playground or not.
I'm at a ball field, and it's the third inning, and the score is 0-0. It's a really good pitcher's duel today.
Hey Bart, is Wyatt pitching?
No, he's not pitching. He just struck out the inning prior to. So
I'm just glad you're able to join us, but I'm also glad you're able to be spending some time with your family.
Yeah, well, thank you.
With no other questions, Neil, why don't you go ahead and move on to the next part?
All right, so that is the approval request for amendments to section 405.255, the accessory buildings and structures. That was discussing the ground mounted solar panels. That was just restricting that height to 6 feet. So in that section, it states that solar panels, ground mounted solar panels that are not to exceed 6 feet in height as measured from the average grade at the base of the structure to the highest point of the structure. So that way it keeps it below the 6 foot fences, so we don't have any issues as far as site problems or restrictions.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
That is all I have.
Well, the two Hageman plumbing with SUBD-79 and the 405.255 accessory buildings and structures on ADM-108, both will be on bills later on the agenda. And with that, thank you, Neil. Next, we'll hear from Maintenance and Grounds Director, Brad Boozy-Cruz.
Good evening, Board and Mayor. You have my monthly report in front of you.
Yeah, Brad, I do have a question. You know, with all the rain and the spill off at the dam at the new pool park, have you had discussions with Guy about trying to put something in a capital budget for next year to address that issue? Because even it seems like it washes out the gravel road or the dirt road, but even when we have an asphalt road put in, are we thinking about we need to do something to control that water on a heavy rain?
Well, we need to put curb and gutter in first, and that takes it down to the, to the storm sewer that's in. So that's our main thing. So that's something that you're all gonna have to think about on capital, or Guy is, or somebody is, because the only way we're gonna correct that is to put curb and gutter in, because it's washing my lines out for my street lights and everything else. It just got so much water that comes down through there. So that's going to have to be our thing, and then we're going to have to work on the lake, put a different spillway in there to correct that problem where it just runs off that hill.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem.
Anybody else have any questions for Brad?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
All right, thank you, Brad.
Thanks.
Next, we'll hear from the Building Commissioner, Mike Ross.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. You have my monthly report.
Are there any questions for Mike on his monthly report?
No.
No. Mike, you got it easy again this time.
I appreciate that, Mayor and Board.
Next, we'll hear from Chief Police Larry Ellard.
Good evening. I just have one item for you tonight, and that's also my monthly report.
Do you have any questions for the chief?
I do have a question. I noticed on the report that there was, where you list all the type of calls, there, after several of the calls, I think there was like 30 plus of them, and had a dash fire. I don't remember seeing that before. Was there a reason that was added to the report, or what does that indicate?
Can you give me one of the examples?
Well, I would say, I don't have it in front of me. It would say something like individual had heart issues, or, something.
Yeah, Larry, on page two, Larry, the very top one says hemorrhage, dangerous, /fire, and fire is all caps.
Yeah, I just wondered what that meant.
That would be a call that we also responded to with the fire department. So like a medical emergency, our guys are usually there first, but it's actually a fire call.
It's not an ambulance call?
Fire call first?
What's that?
it's a
So-
fire call first?
Now our officers get to every call before ambulance and fire gets there. So in that case, let's say it was a sick case, our guys would get there first. It's actually their call, and it says, fire on there because we're assisting fire.
Why doesn't it say assisting ambulance?
Let me go ahead and clarify that real quick, Larry. Their fire and ambulance are dispatched at the same time to numerous calls. So it's probably representing fire before it does ambulance, but a lot of times both will go. And therefore, if we are making it there before, you're probably just seeing the end results of it just saying fire. But fire and ambulance go to all calls together. And that's beyond our reach or beyond what we do. That's more of a dispatch. And
right. And I can find out from my records clerk, if there's any particular order that it's listed in, and it fire is first. But basically, you're just showing the activity of our officers. Our officers went to that call. So,
I mean, basically what that says is there was another party who handled it, but you guys were there, so you responded. Whether it's fire or ambulance, it doesn't matter. Somebody else was there to assist and finish up the call.
correct. And usually, and it's no fault of the fire or the ambulance, like our guys are already out in cars. So let's say someone falls and, cuts themselves wide open. Our guys get there a few minutes before the ambulance. It's actually an ambulance call. We're just assisting them, if that makes sense.
All right.
And let me springboard off that. Several years ago, previous boards voted for ADs to be in the car. So sometimes if it's a cardiac arrest or what be it, we can be there quicker at times and be able to render aid in some capacity as police to the patient, and then medics can take over with better equipment. But at least we can give initial stuff that's needed, especially because we don't have to get into vehicles. We're already in the vehicles and we can arrive on scene. So it is a good thing to go and assist on some calls. It's just to answer that, because we do have some medical equipment and first responder certified to be able to render some.
Right. Same thing goes with Mark.
What's that, Gary? Or Alderman Miller, I'm sorry.
Is not the decision of the dispatch to dispatch ambulance and then fire along with it?
Yeah, it's theirs.
They made that decision.
Yeah, we had nothing to do with it as a.
No, I know we don't, but I just wondered. That's interesting.
I agree with you, Gary. That's very interesting.
Any other questions for his monthly report?
No.
Chief, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Bills to ordinance. Entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 33-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by, was it Alderman Deloy? Is that correct?
Yep.
An ordinance levying and imposing a tax for the calendar and fiscal year of 2020 for general, municipal, and public park purposes.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 33-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Who did a second? I'm sorry.
Jack.
Thank you.
Jack.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance levying and imposing a tax for the calendar and fiscal year of 2020 for general, municipal, and public park purposes.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 34-2020.
So moved.
So moved.
I'm going to give it to Miller. Do you want to second it, Deloy?
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Deloy.
An ordinance amending section 405.255 accessory buildings and structures of the municipal code by adding solar panels.
I'll entertain a motion for second reading and passage of bill number 34-2020.
So moved.
The only one I heard was Cheryl. Was there somebody else in that?
Scott.
Okay. Scott, would you like to second it?
Yep, I'll second that.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance amending section 405.255 accessory buildings and structures of the municipal code by adding solar panels.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 35-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Dyer.
An ordinance accepting the re-subdivision of Lot 1 Hegeman Plumbing by the City of Warrenton, Missouri.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 35-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Miller, seconded by Alderman Dyer.
An ordinance accepting the re-subdivision of Lot 1 Hegeman Plumbing by the City of Warrenton, Missouri.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer.
Yes.
Bill passes to 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 36-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I didn't get the first one. Who made the first one?
I did. Schultz.
And Melody, who'd you get for the second one?
I believe Deloy.
Sorry, guys, I'm getting a little lag, so I'm getting behind here. Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Deloy.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri approving an intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the City of Warrenton and Warren County, Missouri.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 36-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, and I believe it was seconded by Alderman Deloy. Is that correct?
Yes.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri approving an intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the City of Warrenton and Warren County, Missouri.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 37-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, and ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvement of the city's infrastructure.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 37-2020.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay. Who'd you get, Melody?
I believe Alderman Dyer was first, but I don't know who was second.
Was that Alderman Miller? Would you like, is that,
Yes.
okay, would you like to second it?
Yes.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, ADA ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvements of the city's infrastructure.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 38-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy and I'm sorry, was that Alderman Crump?
Correct.
And seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, ADA ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvements of the city's infrastructure.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 38-2020.
So moved.
All right, Melody, I'm going to rely on you. Who'd you get?
I got Cheryl or Alderman Dyer as first, but I don't know who was second.
That was me.
That was Miller.
You got it. I appreciate it. So motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, ADA ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvements of the city's infrastructure.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz,
Abstain.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Bill passes 5-0 with one abstaining. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 39-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Deloy.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, ADA ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvement of the city's infrastructure.
Entertain a motion for, entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 39-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Who'd you give for a second, Melody?
I don't know. I didn't.
Might have
It
been
was,
Jack.
I'm sorry, say again, Alderman Schultz.
I think it may have been Crump.
I think so too.
Yes.
All right, so motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Crump.
an ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, ADA ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvements of the city's infrastructure.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 40-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, ADA ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvement of the city's infrastructure.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 40-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, ADA ramps, and temporary construction easements necessary for the construction and improvement of the city's infrastructure.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 41-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I got it.
Alderman Schultz, is that correct?
Yep.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, and ADA ramps necessary for the construction and improvement of the city's infrastructure.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 41-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Crump, seconded by Alderman Dyer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
In ordinance of the city of Warrenton, Missouri, the city authorizing condemnation of certain interest in real property located in the city for the purpose of constructing new sidewalks, ditches, culverts, and ADA ramps necessary for the construction and improvement of the city's infrastructure.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion to close the regular Board of Aldermen meeting and go into executive session for legal counsel.
So moved.
Second.
Who is the second? I didn't get it, Brandy.
Crump.
Or Melody. Crump.
Alderman Crump, I believe.
Yes.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Crump. Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. We are adjourned and we'll be going into executive session.